All right, let's get right into this. I want you to picture it. A chilly Saturday night in Quito, Ecuador. It's February 1949. Everyone's gathered around their radios, listening to the country's biggest musical duo. A totally normal evening. But in just a few minutes, a single broadcast is going to throw this entire city into a complete nightmare of fire and death. All because of some fictional logic engine that supposedly predicted the end of the world.
And then it happens. The music just stops. An urgent, cold voice cuts through the speakers with that one horrifying sentence. For the thousands of people listening, including a 17-year-old kid named Jose Antonio standing on a street corner, this is the exact moment the world stops making any sense. Latacunga, a city just 60 miles away, has just been wiped off the map.
Now, what's truly unbelievable about this whole thing is the speed. From that first shocking announcement to a citywide deadly riot, it took only 21 minutes. That's it. 21 minutes for one radio broadcast to literally tear a city apart. So how on earth did this happen?
Well, to really get it, we have to rewind just a tiny bit and go inside the radio station itself. There, you'd find a man in his 30s, Leonardo Pries. He's the ambitious director of Radio Quito, and right now, he's pacing the floor. He's sweating, his heart is racing, because he believes he is about to oversee a broadcast that will make history.
And this little chart right here shows you exactly why his plan had so much power. See, in 1949 Ecuador, television was basically science fiction. The radio, that was everything. Think of it like a verified government Twitter account and a CNN breaking news alert all rolled into one. If you heard something on Radio Quito, a station known for being incredibly accurate, it wasn't just news, it was gospel.
So, now, let's go back out to the street and see how this all unfolds through the eyes of our 17-year-old witness, Jose Antonio. He and his friends are just stunned by that first announcement, but they are about to get swept up in a terrifying, minute-by-minute spiral into total chaos.
Just look at how fast this escalates. At 9:10, 10 minutes in, the threat isn't 60 miles away anymore, it's 8. Enemy planes have landed right on their doorstep. 5 minutes after that, it's not just an invasion, it's extermination, with reports of poison gas. And then, you get the ultimate confirmation. Actual government officials, the mayor and a minister, come on the air. And they aren't there to calm people down. No, they're confirming everyone's worst fears. Men have to fight, and by the way, we're gonna lose. And this was the moment the panic just completely boiled over. A new voice, claiming to be a newspaper chief, screams this message into the microphone. Out on the street, Jose Antonio hears a yelp escape his own throat as the city just erupts around him. People are screaming, dropping to their knees to pray, absolutely convinced that their final moments have arrived.
And this is what that pure terror looked like. Absolute pandemonium. People were pouring out of their homes, dragging suitcases, trying to flee to nowhere. Jose literally watched a car speed past him and slam right into a stone wall with this sickening crunch. The entire social contract was just gone. It was replaced by pure, primal fear.
But then, just as the chaos hit its absolute peak, something shifted. Right at the very end of the broadcast, one final update crackled over the airwaves. An update that would turn the public's terror into a white-hot, focused rage.
Back in that studio, Leonardo Pries looked out his window and saw his success firsthand. A sea of people, the very same audience he had just terrified, was now an angry mob holding torches. They weren't coming for more news. They were coming for him. They had figured it out. They'd been tricked, and they wanted blood.
Leonardo's escape was something straight out of a movie. First, he hears the sound of glass shattering as the mob sets the ground floor on fire. Then, the smoke becomes this suffocating wave, trapping him and his whole team on the top floor. The stairs are completely engulfed in a wall of flames. He has only one choice left, a running leap from the roof of his burning building to the school next door. He jumps, slams onto the roof, and somehow survives, only to look back at the city that he himself had just set on fire.
So, what was this all about? What was this government logic engine that had predicted the apocalypse? Well, the truth was way more mundane and honestly so much more reckless.
Right. There was no logic engine, there was no invasion. The entire 21-minute broadcast was a carefully planned radio play, all orchestrated by Leonardo Pries. He wanted to create a viral moment, a sensation, by adapting H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds for his audience in Quito, just like Orson Welles had done in America about a decade earlier. But that brings up a really important question.
Why did one broadcast become a famous legend while the other one ended in a deadly tragedy? Well, it all came down to one single fatal error. See, while Orson Welles' broadcast did cause some panic, it also included disclaimers, making it clear it was a work of fiction. Leonardo Cainci, in his mission for maximum impact, failed to warn his audience it wasn't real, until the city was already in flames.
So when the truth finally did come out, there was no sense of relief, just rage. The consequences of those 21 minutes of fiction would be horribly, tragically real.
The estimated death toll ranges anywhere from 6 to 20 people, and the way they died is just devastating. Some were trapped in the fire at the radio station that the mob had set, but others, completely terrified by the broadcast and believing a torturous death was coming, had actually taken their own lives.
The fallout was just total. Leonardo Pugliese was never criminally charged, but his life as he knew it was over. His credibility was completely shattered, and he had to flee the country just to find a job. And Radio Quito, the voice of the nation, was silenced for 2 whole years. The city was left with this deep scar, the memory of a night when the most trusted voice in the country lied, and people died because of it.
You know, it's a story from 1949, and yet it feels so unbelievably relevant today, doesn't it? It's this powerful reminder of just how quickly a source we trust can ignite widespread panic. And it really leaves us with a critical question for our own time. When technology can make fiction almost impossible to distinguish from reality, how prepared are we really to tell the difference?